Okay guys, so I have been asked many times to make a video of just how to make a bow with your fingers. I guess we call them finger bows. Sounds kind of funny, but that's what it is. I'll probably title it How to Make a Bow with Your Fingers, or using your fingers, I don't know. But generally I like to do that with seam binding, organza, that kind of ribbon. So I have a big huge seam binding over here. I'm just pulling it out of my drawer that's next to me. I don't even bother bringing it out. It's a spool like this huge. So if I have links for any of those things, those will be affiliate links, which means I'll make a small commission for your purchase items to those links. Usually I get it through Amazon. And if you like the crinkly kind, you can crinkle it up, you know, whatever. That's not really what this is about, but all you have to do is crinkle it up if you want it to look like that crinkled kind. And organza. I love the way organza ribbon works, but you can do this with any ribbon. Of course, we use our fingers, so, you know, the width of it has, you know, you want to take that into account and stuff. But I'm going to start off showing you the most basic, and since I crinkled some of that, I guess I'll crinkle a lot of it. The most basic one. This is something I learned long ago. If I knew the person's name, or, you know, like we go to expos and like, it's just something people have done for a very long time. So if you do it and you kind of get used to doing it, you'll remember. But if you forget, or if you don't do them for a while, it's like, oh, how do you do those again? So I like to do them with double loops at first. So I'll show you that one. That's my standard finger bow. And then I'll show you how to do it with like a single loop and a loopier loop. So like there's different reasons why you want to use them different ways. But so let's just get started. So I don't know how much it actually takes. I never really measure that. Like how long do you want to leave a tail? Like maybe this long. You're using your 2 fingers. Sometimes I'll use all 4. It just depends on how big I want my bow. You'll still do the same thing, but just loop around 2 fingers at a time instead of just the one set, okay? So, again, I don't really have an answer for that, sorry guys, but I'm assuming it takes like maybe 1.5 feet or so, maybe a foot, I don't know. Right now that's already a few inches there. Just holding it here. We're literally using our index and middle finger. So you bring it from in front, I hold it down just to hold it. You're looping behind your index finger, okay? And then in front of your middle finger. And then from behind your middle finger, you're going to go back into the middle and loop it over your index finger. This is usually where I cut it off, but I'll show you one more thing. So this is going to make a double. And again, do you want it a little bit bigger? Do you want your fingers a little bit closer? It just depends on the size bow you're looking for. So once it's back here, you're going to bring it in front of your middle finger again. We are going to complete this loop, right? So we have 2 full loops. But I usually cut it off at this point. If you're not really sure how long you should cut it off, then maybe estimate how much you might need if you go back around. And so I just leave like, I don't know, 6 inches or something. Right? If you look, maybe that's more than 6 inches. Actually, it's probably, well, no, that's pretty darn well close to 6 inches. Check that out. Okay. So now from here, I'm going to finish it off by going behind my middle finger again. You're still holding everything. You're going to cross over everything and shove it in between the space in your fingers. So just take this whole thing. It's still making a loop. You're going to just shove that end through. And I'm doing this very slowly. Hopefully. Okay, so I pull that end through. Then this guy, you're going to bring it underneath. So it's going to finish off like the tie back there. And you're going to bring this loop that you just created. You just created a loop crossing over and behind. So, right, it's the same piece. You're going to go just under that loop that you created. You're going to take your tail end and just put it through under that loop. Under the one loop. Just the one loop you created. You're not sticking it in here or in here or anything. Just under the one that crossed over. And then tighten it up. And if there's something you want to do some arrangement before you tighten it up, go ahead. Like, you know, if you notice that this loop is way bigger than this one. It's basically a zig. You're just going around and around. So when you pull something, it's taking it from somewhere else, right? So you just know that. And that's it. As tight as you like. And bring it out. And that is my famous double bow. And I would just kind of clean this up. Again, I usually singe the ends of my, what's this stuff called? Ribbon. Now you see I wasted about 2 inches, so, you know. But this is seam binding, and it's cotton, and it'll just catch on fire. So there's our little bow. And then you can arrange it. And I always think this is the front side, in my opinion. It was actually what was facing down. So when you take it off, but if you think this other side looks better, use the other side on top, you know, glue it down that way. Whatever you want. That is the basic bow. I can hear my son just moving around up there. I don't know if he's going to come down. I might pause. So we have this one. This, and that's obviously seam binding. if you have a certain side that you want to show, you're definitely going to have to do some little tweaking, and I showed that in another video recently. But let's say you just want to do one loop. So again, same thing. We start here. Okay, maybe I shouldn't get too complicated yet because our words need to face down, or the color, because if you recall, the end of my strings, that's what actually ends up facing up. So I don't want to confuse people. I'm just showing you. You can just make the bow and then tweak the stuff afterwards too. But for right now, we're just going to go over with our words facing down. And I'm just going to cross over my finger again, just like before. But before I get there, I'm going to turn this. So I'm holding the end of the tail. I'm going to turn it because I want the lettering to show. So all I did was give it a little twist. I'm going to bring it back around this way. And we're going to give it another twist. Same direction, opposite direction, it doesn't matter. But I want the lettering to show again. So I need to twist it back because it's coming back around. And now the lettering is showing everywhere, right? And then basically this is where we're finishing this one off because we just want the single loop. So again, how much of this do you want to leave yourself? I'm just going to cut some off. I'm going to push it through my fingers here. And bring it around. Right? They're on the back just like we did. I know it looks crazy because we have all these loops or turns. And then we're just going to push it through again, that strip that we just made there. And this one's a little stiffer and it's smaller, so just get it in there. This is going to be the back anyway, so it doesn't matter. And I'm pulling it tight. And my lettering is showing down in that direction. So I'm going to take this off. And again, if one loop ends up being much bigger than the other, you can kind of mess with it. So I generally don't work with patterned ribbons like this. It's always like an organza, like black or white or whatever. But hopefully you can kind of see. So you would just have to mess with it a little bit. Tighten it up. Okay, and you still have your little bow. And again, this one I would probably clean it up a little bit. And there it is. So it's a little bit something more you got to work with. But I'm just showing you that there's variability, right? Let me grab another kind of well, I don't know if it's another kind, but organza, no. You know what, I do like doing this with seam binding too. So I'll show you another seam binding one. Sometimes I like to leave them really big and loopy because that's what I want. So I'm just going to do the same thing. Starts in front, go over my two fingers, go in front of the bottom two set, behind, over again over the top, behind those two top ones, and then it's going to go back in here, but again we're going to loop over. So I'm just going to cut myself a length and then finish our loop. So just like when we had it under our middle finger, we're going to finish the loop and then go across, and I'm going to shove it in between my top two and bottom two fingers. This will make you a bigger bow. You might want to even make it looser. You can even open up your fingers more, right? It just depends. When it comes around, see, it's a little bit crossed over there. Hold on. Okay, when it comes across, we're just going to go into that loop we made just like before. Go into this loop. And just keep an eye on how this looks over here. Tighten it up. And there you have a bigger kind of loopier bow because we used double fingers. Was this one from the top or the bottom? It's hard to tell. I think that one should go up here. When I pulled it off, it just kind of crossed underneath. Okay. So you have this guy, and he's much loopier, right, than like this. And then with this, what I like to do is put some little glue when I stick it down, and I'll stick it like this so it just looks kind of fun, like that. Where this one's much more taut, and then of course this one, made of grosgrain, is going to be much firmer. So I hope that helped. I know people were like, how do I do this? I need a video just on that. So, you know, there they are. And this is really fun because I was going to show that you can then take like a jump ring and add like a charm or something. Let me grab a jump ring really quick. I have a ton of jump rings sitting in front of me from the Dollar Tree, so let's just use those. I went and grabbed another set, but let's get this going. And of course you can use tools, but when you open up a jump ring, you need to find where it's closed up, obviously, and twist them. You don't pull them open, okay? You twist them open. And you know, maybe I'll use a tool because I do have to kind of hold on to that little thing to slide it in there. And this is what I've done. I haven't figured out a way, or I haven't really thought about it, should I say, making Ooh, that one's a big boy. It'll look cute on that one. Like adding a loop while you're working with it, you can add a thing. I don't know. I just haven't done that. So we have this guy, and I'm just going to hook it on there. And then you just come in here and look at your little middle section, just like any other bow, and just loop it through, you know, that little cross area where it crosses there. So I'll try and get that in there, as well as I can. It might take some doing. Come on out the other side, buddy. There you are. So now it's popped out, sorry, through here. And then you just twist it back. So this one got a little bit wonky, but that's okay. So I twist it back, and you can hide that piece where it opens up back inside. Just kind of give it a twist. But look how cute. So now you have this little kind of dangle or bead or whatever you want to add charm in your little bow, and then you can stick that down still, or just let it hang down like that. Whatever, just fun things. But that is the basic bow, and again, you can do 3, whatever you can combine on your fingers, whatever sizing. I'm sure you can make a piece of cardboard, like chipboard, that has the same thing with like a little space. Let's say 3 inches on top, 3 inches on the bottom, just leave it like a space. So it's a big piece of cardboard, and then you just wrap it the same way. But it's not your fingers, it's just a piece of cardboard or chipboard that you've cut into and just made a space in it, like in the middle. And keep making bows that way. So just something free you can do because your fingers are always with you. Oh, look at the bat. Anyway, alright guys, well I'll link these charms too because these are really cool. But I'll see you guys at the next one. Thanks for asking, guys. It's just something I've been doing for a while and people keep asking about that. So now I'm making the video longer just chatting, but I'll see you guys at the next one. Bye now.